So millennials are now the largest generation in the country, according to census data. They rival baby boomers as a political force. In this November's election, if millennials turned out to vote, they would actually turn out at, they sort of make up a third of the electorate. That's the same percentage that baby boomers are expected to be.
We're coming for
If. And that's the big thing I wanted to ask you all about. I mean, if we can start right there. I mean, I hear so much about sort of the potential of millennial voters, what millennials are interested in, sort of what our generation is interested in. But look, I mean, I talk to people who don't want to vote. Do you all have that experience? And I'm wondering, how do you sort of engage with the idea that there's a lot of potential, but maybe, your generation, our generation, will not necessarily turn out in ways that will be able to affect this election?
Well, I mean, young people are apathetic about politics. Young people are hungry for change. They're energized, and I don't think are apathetic about anything else. But sadly, don't see, and I'm speaking in very general terms. A lot of young people don't see the political system as a way to enact the change that they want to see in the world, and they see a Congress that can't even pass a Zika bill before they go on vacation for the whole summer, and the world is just left hanging. They see, a 14-hour filibuster and get excited and watch it on social media and then think that there's going to be change, and then no, it's the same thing because this side wants to get elected and that side wants to get elected, and that's why politicians do what they do. And so that's why you see a really huge drop in interest in getting engaged in politics. There are not a lot of young people who are interested in becoming politicians. They are interested in going to Silicon Valley or becoming entrepreneurs, and so that's the route that they see in terms of, again, enacting social change. And so to me, the low voter turnout is a symptom of that. If young people believed in in our political system, they'd be more likely to turn out to vote. I think that they don't think that their vote matters.
Go ahead.
I do agree with the end that definitely a lot of people around me that are my age, they kind of do have that feeling where, okay, does my vote really matter? Like if I voted last time and I didn't really see a change, But from my point of view of what I do in the community, I can say that I think that this year we're going to have a big Latino voter turnout for young adults. There's a lot of people just turning 18. There's a lot of people that are older than 18 that are Latinos. And what drives us, I say us because I do voter registration. I try to get people to go out to vote, is that we're doing this for our families. Maybe my friend can't vote. Maybe my mom can't vote. But I can go out and vote for her. I can lift up those voices. And that's one of the biggest things that in my community, I see that is pushing us millennials to go out and to vote and to have a say in some form of way.
Yeah. I say, I'm Saeed, my name means happy and fortunate in Arabic, so I try to be optimistic when possible, and that is certainly a fight during this election season. I think there are three reasons actually why I think millennials are going to get out and vote. I think one, Donald Trump scares the hell out of a lot of people, and in particular, young voters of color, women, certainly people who care about immigration. As a Black gay man, I mean, Orlando is very much on my mind, and seeing the way all of these conversations, it's not just rhetoric, it is real, and so I think a lot of people are going to step up, and you certainly see Latino voters registering, in pretty high amounts. I think Hillary Clinton as a potential president is going to be an important draw for certainly a lot of women, but also a lot of people who want to believe, however imperfect she is as a person and politician, that perhaps there is a bit of hope. Maybe there's another opportunity for us to get this American project right. So I think they're going to turn out. And then there's my generation. I grew up in Texas, so George W. Bush was my governor when I was coming through school, and then I saw him enter the White House, and then my generation got to finally vote, and we saw 2 terms of President Barack Obama. And so I think if you are certainly like in the latter part of the millennials, you've seen this amazing range of politics, and I think you see what happens when you feel that your leader isn't representing you, and I think we're going to turn up because we don't want to feel that way again.
And I will quickly add, kind of going off Liz's point, I mean, young people have social media. and no other group of young people had social media. And that's a way for us to be politically involved and engaged in a way that's not voting. And I think a lot of people would say that voting is the highest form of political engagement, but posting on social media is political engagement as well. And I think to say that one's better than the other, that's a value judgment. But to say that young people aren't politically engaged because they don't vote, that's just not true.
That's a really interesting point for us. I spent some time recently in Cleveland interviewing young African-American activists who are protesting around criminal justice reform. They're sort of very actively involved, and one could make the argument more actively politically involved than simply going up and showing up on election day. But for some of them, they, as Liz was saying, didn't see a point in voting. They didn't feel like it was actually going to affect their lives. I want to, let's go ahead.
Well,
yeah.
and one, just to jump off that point, there is a correlation between, Facebook users are more politically engaged, and Facebook users are actually more willing or more likely to vote. And so there is also the correlation. I think we can't let people think that, liking or posting a status on Facebook is all young people are into, and they think that that makes a difference. They're influencing their friends, and also and we've seen movements like Black Lives Matter. Use social media to change the platforms of candidates. There was a Black Lives Matter plank on the Bernie Sanders website after Black Lives Matter activists used the internet and also real-life protests to enact that change in policy.
And I'd add too, I tend to think of social media as enacting. I do think it's political engagement. It's the right, it's assembly, it's petition, it's kind of collecting ideas so that there's a sense of data for how many people feel a certain way. But also, I think a lot of young people are going to be motivated by watching what's happening in Europe with Brexit and seeing how young voters who overwhelmingly voted to remain and how they feel now at seeing that the voting generation that is going to have to live with the fallout of this decision for the shortest period of time voted most overwhelmingly for the UK to leave. And so I think, young people, again, social media has brought news into all of our lives in a way that's much more tangible, and it's all over the place. It's not just the newspaper at the breakfast table anymore. So I think people are paying attention and will get active.
And you can connect with young people in the UK in a way that probably wouldn't have been possible,
Absolutely.
even 5 or 10 years ago.
We can hear what they have to say in real time.